Okay, so not treating our babies as babies, and I mean 2 year olds. Treat them as a small adult that knows nothing and has all the potential to learn and understand. So, I had the opportunity to teach my friend's 2 year old, and when I started to watch her during the day, she knew nothing at all. So had just turned 2, and up until that point, their brains really aren't absorbing, understanding, and outputting very much at all. Really, all that's happening is that their eyes are just observing and looking around, and they really have no thought and no comprehension, no idea what it is that they're seeing around them at this time. But once you hit 2 years old, then the brain starts to really absorb and wants to start regurgitating this stuff out. So everything that I did around her, I involved her in. I never let her be in the background doing anything she wants. I always taught her how to use what she was playing with. I always taught and explained to her what she was watching on TV. Never did I let her watch or do something without teaching her how or what it was about. I did everything with her, and she did everything with me. Everything she was learning was coming from me, or I was there explaining to her to make sure she wasn't getting it wrong. I took the time to explain and show her how to understand the life around her. So why was it important for me to jump into teaching right now at 2 years old instead of waiting? A lot of people would say, she's just a baby, she is young, why do this? Well, if I let her sit alone and absorb all that she sees around her, of course she will eventually pick up on patterns and repetitions, but she will not fully understand what she has picked up on. And most likely she will gain bad habits that will need to be fixed. So why would I let this happen when I can teach her how to do something and how not to do it? I think as humans we have become way too relaxed, and we expect too little from our toddlers. Most parents are reverse bottlenecking our children. What I mean by that is, so think of their brain as a huge open space, and we as parents, we think they cannot take in so much information, so we feed it to them little by little. And that's actually not the case. So they can absorb so much information and they can learn a lot more than what we are expecting. So thinking that an 18-month or a 2-year-old cannot absorb or learn much, then you're going to be missing out on so much precious time. This is the time where they're going to be learning and not fighting back. So what I mean, and we'll touch more on this later, but what I mean is, right now the brain is empty. There's nothing inside, right? It doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't know left from right. It doesn't know that it's a human. It doesn't know that it doesn't even know. It has no vocabulary. It has no idea of anything. It's not thinking, oh, I can't talk, or oh, that's wrong. Or if you tell them to say something, they're not going to say no, or they're not going to say, I'm not going to say that, because there's nothing there for them to do that with yet. They haven't learned the ability to do those things, to think. They haven't learned the words to think. They might feel emotions, but other than that, there's nothing else there. So right now is the best time to start filling that empty brain, that mind, with as much as you possibly can. So many parents treat their children as if they cannot learn a thing until it's time to put them into school. That's years that you're missing. So many times I've personally seen parents with 2 to 4-year-olds and they just act as if they're accessories. They're just there like a purse. The kid is there and the parents aren't interacting with them. They're not involving them because they think they can't do anything right now. What's the point of even trying? Let's just wait until they're older and wait until their brain is more matured and can do more things on its own. So a lot of problem students I actually teach, and a lot of problem students and children come from parents and households like this. So I've learned that this is not the case. I've learned that we can have 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds who are at the level of 5-year-olds. I have learned that instead of a useless accessory that we have to wait to get older so that they can learn, you can have them be your best friend by the time that they are 3. And what I mean by best friend is, so when I taught this little girl, and you can see her name there, but I try to go through this and get her name out of all of this, but I guess it's okay. I wanted to keep that confidential, but I suppose it's alright. So when I taught my friend's kid, everything that I taught her, I treated her as an adult. So by the time she was 3, she just knew so many things. Her conversation and comprehension and everything was so strong that we were pretty much friends, just like me and her father and I were. We were listening to the same music, some Ozzy Osbourne, the new Ozzy Osbourne album that came out. We were listening to that. We were listening to Elvis. We were rocking out. We weren't doing kid stuff. We were watching Spider-Man. We were watching the older Spider-Man cartoons. We were watching stuff that is not adult, like it wasn't like Breaking Bad or anything like that, but it wasn't CoComelon. It wasn't Baby Shark. She was past that because I wasn't keeping her at that level. I wasn't treating her as a baby, so I didn't have a baby. I had a best friend that was like in a 3-year-old's body. So, unfortunately, her parents, because they were young, and I'm not trying to, in case they ever listen to this, I'm not trying to bash or anything like that, but that it's what the case was. Her parents were like this. They always treated her like a baby. They always had her at the wayside, far away, I might add, while they're on their phone or watching TV. They weren't interacting with her. And when they did, they didn't put much effort or patience into it. So with me, she was perfect. She would never say no. She would always listen to me because I took the time to explain to her why I'm telling her these things. I took the time to explain to her life around her, and how to interact in it, and what to do and what not to do. I taught her everything that was in the house, what she could mess around with and what she couldn't mess around with. But with them, she was a terrible 2. As soon as they would come home, she just, in her mind, she would just flip. There were like 2 different sides to her, and it was really weird. So words that she would say correctly with me, as soon as they would come home, when she was with them, she would start to revert back to saying it incorrectly because they never took the time to tell her how to say it right. So she had 2 different sides to her, and that really blew my mind. I didn't even know that was possible. So I thought, if she was saying it right with me, then that means the rest of the time when I'm not there, she's still saying it right. But it actually wasn't the case, and I think it was because they didn't correct her, then to her, the words she was saying wrong were actually right. When she was with them, she was saying it the right way, even though it was the wrong way. And then when she was with me, she was saying it the correct way. She didn't know that difference, I guess, And really, if you're teaching your child at home, you need to take the patience to make sure they say the words right. If they can say one word, they can say any word. You just need to take the time. I really suggest that you focus on phonics. Just do the sounds of the ABCs all the time. Do all that. Do consonant blends. TH, Do it all the time. And if you're teaching them words, they're practicing the phonics at the same time anyway. So if you're constantly teaching them new words, you're constantly teaching them phonics. So teaching how to behave instead of trying to work around the behavior. Teaching how to take care of things. Teaching not to cry, to calm down, and to work through the problem. Teaching not to get angry, to calm down and work through the problem. Wow, I put that twice, didn't I? I guess it was that important. So instead of just, if your child is doing something wrong, instead of just telling them, no, don't do that, take the time to show them why they shouldn't do that. So if they're playing with toys, if you buy them a toy, don't just let them take that toy and run off with it and do anything. If you buy them a toy, take the time to teach them how to use that toy. Take the time to teach them how to not use that toy. And when situations come around, use them. So let's say they do accidentally break a toy. Use that. Or if something ever breaks ever around them, even if you're with them and you accidentally break something or you come across something that's broken, take that opportunity to teach them. Use that to teach them that things can break, and that's why you need to take care of them. Okay? And if they get angry, have them relax. Take your child, get close to their face, look at them in their eyes, and you be calm. You tell them, just say, calm down, relax. Even if they don't know those words, they're going to catch the feeling that you have of calm and being relaxed. When they calm down, you tell them to say, stop crying. You tell them to say, calm down. Tell them to say, relax, it's okay. And then explain the situation to them. You do that, and eventually, very quickly, when they are about to cry, they'll either stop themselves, or if you just say, don't cry, it's okay, they'll stop. And they'll relax, and they'll get through the problem that's going on, the situation. They'll get through it. Instead of having your child screaming and crying, and instead of taking whatever it is that's causing that problem and replacing it with something else, or saying, okay, we'll stop doing that and go do something else, and not teaching them why they're going through this emotion, why they feel this way, or not teaching them to take care of things. Be careful. Don't pinch it or you're going to break it. Don't squeeze that so hard or you're going to break it. Don't throw that down or it's going to break. Take care of it. Be careful. So there's more on this. I just covered it. So instead of telling her to stop crying, I just took my time to explain why. I didn't bark at her and say shut up or stop crying and leave it at that. I want her to understand why. And even at this age, they can. And sometimes you do need to brainstorm. You need to think, how can I get this through to them for them to understand? And then you make them say it. Make them say the words. And if they can say it, then when it comes time to you feeling that way, if you catch yourself feeling angry or something happens, you can have them tell you, calm down, don't get angry, it's okay. And not giving them a chance to gain bad habits or bad behavior. So at this age, like I said, their brain is empty. It's trying to absorb and learn right now. It's empty. So if you don't give them a chance to cry it out, if you stop it right then and there, then you're not going to have that problem later. You snuff it out. If they're not taking care of things, you stop it. Okay? And if you explain it to them and take them through the motions, their brain is not going to catch on to that bad behavior. It's not going to go straight to getting angry and throwing a fit. If you're at the park and you say, okay, look, it's time to go. Let's go home. You're not going to see, as I see so many times, children running away from their parents and then kicking and screaming at them. And to me, it blows my mind. If a child can say, no, 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 I don't want to go, then you can teach them why you're telling them that it's time to go. And don't say, oh, okay, well, if you go, we'll go get ice cream or something. That's just replacing the problem. It's averting their attention to something else, and you're not fixing the problem. You're just beelining around it. So take the time to fix the problem, okay? And sometimes you've got to get a little mean. When I say that, I'm talking about if you buy them a toy and they're not going to take care of that toy, you got to show them some consequence. Take that toy and throw it in the trash and say, look, you're not having that toy anymore. If you can't take care of it, I've shown you how to take care of it, you understand, and you won't do it, then it's going in the trash. That's going to teach them that things aren't forever, and it's going to teach them that there are consequences to their actions. It might sound harsh, but hopefully you're not going to have to do it so many times. So here we are, and we're going to try to understand their empty mind. So when a child is born, they're empty. That mind has nothing. But eventually the brain will absorb things and start to try to express itself. And at 2 years old, at this age, they're not going to question what they are taught. They'll absorb what you take the time to teach them, even if you feel it's impossible. You can even show them a rocket ship, and then show them a video of that rocket ship taking off into space. You can just tell them it's going into space. And that might sound a little bit too far ahead of them to understand. But if you take that and you show them so many examples of a rocket ship, and examples of space, examples of planets, you show them so many different aspects of that. And you don't have to get scientific in it or anything. You can keep it simple, but they can understand. They can understand. So here is an empty mind. This white circle here is an empty mind. There's nothing inside. It's incapable of even knowing that it has nothing inside. It's not sitting there thinking, oh, I'm empty. It doesn't even have the ability to realize that it's empty. There's nothing. And what are we as newborns with no knowledge? So we're nothing at all. If we're newborns and we have nothing, we are at that point nothing. We're just an empty vessel. But when they experience repetition and patterns, the brain will naturally begin to learn. You can sit them there by themselves and they'll naturally begin to catch on to patterns and things they see over and over again, and they will try it. But we can control that. We can control what they see all the time. So here's the empty mind. Sorry, it got real bright all of a sudden. And then here is blue. Now the brain is thinking of blue. Why? Because I've taken the chance. I've taken this empty mind and I've done nothing. Let's say I put them in a blue room and I teach them. I make them say blue, blue, blue. I show them a blue ball. I show them a blue square. I show them a toy that's blue, and I just make them say the word blue, blue, blue. Okay? Oh, whoops. Sorry. Let's stay here at blue for a second, okay? Excuse me. So, why did I want to stay at blue? Oh, okay. No, we can move on. So, how can they absorb anything? So like I said, there's nothing pushing back when you're teaching them at this age. There's nothing saying, I don't want to learn this, because they don't have the ability to do that. And maybe you think, well, they're not paying attention, they're not doing this or that. That might occur, but you just need to be persistent. And as soon as you get them to say that first word, and make sure they say it right before you move on. Because if you make them say it, if you let them say it wrong, they don't know that they've just said it wrong. So make sure before you move on that they say the word blue correctly, okay? And when they do that, you just continue to give them more and more and more. So teaching a word to an empty mind. What is a word? As adults, now that we have learned words and we've delved into what makes a word and why we say words and the letters that we need to put together to spell a word, we are thinking a little too hard on it. We're putting too much into it. But if we simplify it, a word is just a sound. We have taken an object and we have put a sound to that object so we can talk about it. We've taken an action and we've put a sound to that action so we can talk about it. So you can say car. That object is still a car, even if it doesn't have the word car, even if it doesn't have a name. It's still the same object, right? And jump. If you're jumping, even if you didn't give it the word, the name jump, the action is still jumping. So all we've done is taken these things and given them a word, a sound, so that we can talk about it, so that we can, point at it. We can focus in on it. So show them an object, show them an action, and say the word. So if you show them a ball, you say ball, 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 until they say it, okay? If you're jumping or if you're sitting, you just say sit, 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 and you make them say it. You do this until they say the sound, and naturally they will learn that this particular object and action is always accompanied with this sound. So let's make a sentence. What is a sentence? It's just a string of words. It's just more sounds. If they can learn one word, they can learn many words. It's not too much for them. If their empty minds won't question this. Like I said, and I'll say over and over again, they don't have the knowledge to say, no, I cannot and I will not learn this. So what should we teach their empty minds? We should give them, at this moment, while they know nothing, give them a strong foundation, and make that foundation something that you can continue to add on to, that will allow us to teach them even more and easily. building blocks that will allow our children to understand quickly and pick up on the world around them. So, what are our goals? So, as parents, our goals are to teach our children to be a functional human. Even at this age, they can be a functional human. Don't wait. Don't wait until they're older when they're going to school to start trying to teach them how to act and to behave and to interact with the world around them and to conversate with other people. Some of the examples are being fair, being nice, and caring. These are everyday things that we do with one another. Being able to ask questions and answer them are so important, because if you give them what, when, why, how, who, where, if you teach them these in the sentences for them and how to answer them, then they can start asking questions all the time and learning more and more. Basic motor skills. Don't wait to teach them to, let's say the last step of the stairs, the very last step of the stairs. Don't be afraid to teach them to take that last step. Put something in their hands and teach them to take that last step without holding on to anything. Okay, that's going to teach them to control their body, to trust their body, and to pay attention while doing multiple things at once. Teach them how to pinch softly. Give them some clay. Make something, a shape out of clay. Give that clay to them and tell them, don't pinch hard. Show them you pinching it hard, and then you teach them, don't do that. Okay? Teach them how to control their bodies. That goes with walking and running fast. If they can walk, then teach them how to run. If they can run, then teach them how to run fast. If they can walk and run, you teach them when to run, when not to run, and how to be careful. So, in a classroom environment, because some of this is for teaching in a classroom, because like I said, I do teach a little bit. So for me, if we're reading a story, I don't like to give them stories that are just random. I like to use stories that are worth something that will teach them. If you're teaching your child at home, most of the time, if you're just teaching them about life around them, you don't really need storybooks. That's really for a classroom environment, so we'll just kind of skip that. So here are more building blocks. So teach your child ABCs and sounds. So if you want to at this age, you can teach them to recognize ABCs. That's always great. But really focus on the sounds, the phonics. Okay, this way they can learn the words quickly. You can start throwing words at them and just tell them, say this, say that. And they're gonna say that word very quickly and correctly, because you've taught them the phonics of the words, the sounds that you need to make these words. Teach them shapes, because shapes are everywhere, and you can teach them that shapes are everywhere. Draw shapes on a paper, and teach them, take the time to show them how to draw these shapes. Then go around your house and show them that these shapes are everywhere. Tables are rectangles. Show them just anything that you can find that has a shape. You point it out and show them that it's a shape. Colors, because colors are everywhere. Numbers are very important. We're counting constantly, all the time. Question words and sentences. Extra things you can teach them for. This is like I said, for classrooms and stuff, but you can teach this to your children at home as well. Days of the week, and the months, and the seasons. Every month that you're in, every day, you just say, we are in January. You say, we are on Monday. You can say, it's summertime. Well, in January, it's not summertime, but teach them about their body, teach them about themselves, about their, what's it called? We'll just teach them about to say I. Have them put their hand on their chest and say, I am. I am sitting. I am standing. I am running. I am jumping. Teach them about their emotions and how to control it. That's the behavior. Teach them about foods. Every day they're eating. So why not teach that to them? Teach them about nature and animals. And go outside and teach them about everything they see outside, which is the grass, trees, dirt, insects, anything like that. Transportation, that's every time you're driving in the car with your child, teach them about that. Teach them that we are in a car. This is a car. Teach them that the car helps you go very far away. The things and objects that they see and interact with every day, you should teach them what they're called and have them say it, and then make them interact with these objects. An important thing to teach them is prepositions of place. Teach them inside, outside, in front of, beside, behind, under, on top, open, close. These are opposites. Open, closed, yes, no, up, down, left, right, stand up, sit down, loud, quiet, go, stop. These are things that we do and talk about all the time. So why? Why teach them all of these things? And it's because we use these things constantly in life. And if they know these words and their meanings, then we can have an easier time controlling our children. We can tell them, go put that over there, or go sit over there. We can tell them, open that door, close that door, turn off the light, turn on the light. Let them do these things. Don't treat them as children, and teach them how to say everything that they're doing. Every action that they do, make them say the words to these actions. Everything that they see, make them say the words to the things that they see. Everything you do around them, make them say what you are doing. Everything that they see, or everything that you're doing, you say it to them. If you're washing the dishes, you say, I am washing the dishes. You make them say, you are washing the dishes. You tell them, you show them a dirty dish and you make them say, it is dirty. You make them say, let's clean it. You clean it in front of them, wash it. Then you say, we are cleaning. And then after you're done, you say, we cleaned it. You can even teach them past tense at the same time. They're just words and actions. And you just continue to do this over and over again. And then you say, it is clean. You do that multiple times and they're going to understand these concepts. So what do? I call this see, do, say, and repeat. They see the action, they see the objects. They do the action, they do interact with the objects. You make them say the word correctly, and you do not move on until they do. Then you repeat it. Repeat does not mean that you repeat the words you just said. It means you do your best to show them in many different ways. So if we clean the dishes, well, let's go find something else that's dirty. Maybe they have a toy that's dirty. Let's go and clean that toy. Now we can say, we are cleaning the toy. It is dirty. After you finish, you say, we cleaned the toy. It is not dirty anymore. It is clean. And you do this with everything. Absolutely everything that they do. See, everything that you do in front of them. Everything, you make them say it. And if they can, you make them do it. And then you just show them as many examples as possible. In a classroom, you use actions and be expressive, but honestly, you don't need that. That to me is just a way to keep their attention. But you don't have to do that. You just make sure that all of the students in the class are saying and doing and So let's say I'm drawing and you have your child there with you. When you're drawing, you make them say you are drawing. Have them ask you a question. What are you doing? You tell them, I am drawing. Make them ask you, what are you drawing? And you tell them, I am drawing a square. Make them say, you are drawing a square. Think of, what else can I teach them at this moment? How about draw slowly? Be careful. You can tell them, after you're finished, you can say, you are finished. I am finished. Stuff like that. So making them say it really helps when you want to teach them something fast. If you tell them not to do something, make them say that. So let's say there's fire and you don't want your child to touch that fire. You just tell them. You tell them, don't touch that. You show them, don't touch that. You tell them, it's hot. It will hurt me. Take this time to show them that things are cold. Get some ice and show them that it's cold. And then get some hot water. Put it in a cup. Make it hot. And make them touch the cup so they can feel that it's hot. And then make them say, it is hot. Okay? And then you tell them, don't touch the fire. And then make them tell you, don't touch the fire. If you make them tell you not to do it, then it solidifies that even more. It makes them realize. Honestly, I don't know how it works, but it just does. If you're telling them to do something, you make them in return tell you not to do it. If you tell them to do something, then take the time to make the situation for them to tell you to do it. Okay, so I just went over this as well. So let's say your child has not learned any words and you want to learn how to teach them a word. Well, first of all, don't say it quickly because they might slur their words together or they might not catch the sounds. So if you're teaching ball, you want to break it down. You want to do the sounds. So you have b, b, b. Then you do all. Now you put those together. Ball, ball. Make sure they're catching the sounds. And then you do it a little faster. Ball, ball, ball. You do that with every single word that you teach them. Now you just do a sentence. Okay, in the sentence it's just you teaching them each word. So while they're gesturing to themselves, you make them say I. You can have them point to their eyes when they say see. This way they know that see is talking about their eyes. When they see, it's their eyes. So you do S, E, C, 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 C. Sometimes you're going to come across a word that you just cannot use gestures with to make them understand it, like A. No problem. You just make them say A. I see A. You can emphasize it more. I see a ball. Now you just say, I see a ball. I see a ball. I see a blue ball. Now you take that sentence, I see a, and you put other objects in it. So that's the repeating. Put other objects in it. So I see a ball. I see a bike. I see a TV. I see the TV. I see many shapes. I see many colors. Now we have them ask questions, and you do this all at the same time. What do you see? What do you have? What do I have? I see a ball. You have a ball. What is it? It is a ball. You can do Pronouns. What does he have? He has a ball. You do this all at the same time. That goes with their brain. Their empty brain is absorbing. So you might think, isn't this too much to do this all at once, back to back, in a 10-minute session? No way. If you are doing the dishes and you make them say you are doing the dishes, you make them say, what are you doing? I am doing the dishes. You make them say, he is doing the dishes. You make them say, I am doing the dishes. You just do it all together at once. And you just keep repeating this with different things that you're doing all the time. I am sitting. What are you doing? I am sitting. You are sitting. He is sitting. Expanding more. Teaching colors. When you teach blue, don't just stop at blue. If they can learn blue, then you can go right behind that and teach them light blue, dark blue. It's just another word. It's just another thing that they are seeing. They will absorb it. Red, light red, dark red. And you make them say, I see blue. I see light blue. I see dark blue. I see a blue ball. I see a blue marker. It is blue. It is light blue. It is dark blue. If they're using a crayon, you can have them say, I am using a blue crayon. It is a blue crayon. Do you want the blue crayon? You see, I put in another sentence in there. It's something else that goes with it. That's a question. I say it as if you don't know. Excuse me. But yeah, I was thinking, while I was thinking of them using a crayon, maybe you're sitting there beside them and they want you to use it with them. So you can teach them to say, do you want to color? You can teach them, you can ask them, can I color? And you have them ask the same question, can I color? Shapes. Shapes are so easy. You just show them the shape and you make them say the word of the shape. Done. Give them so many examples of that one particular shape. Different colors of the same shape. Find objects that are that shape. Numbers. Numbers are so easy to teach them. You show them the number and you make them say the word for that number. 1, 2. You have a crayon. You make them say, I have 1 crayon. You give them 2. I have 2 crayons. Now you can teach them addition and subtraction at the same time, even at this age. Because they're not going to think, oh, that's too hard. Remember, they're empty. Their minds are absorbing. They're not going to know. So if they have 2 crayons, you say, you tell them to say, take away 1. So you take away 1 crayon, and now you have them say, I have 1. You tell them, give me 1 crayon. You give them a crayon. Now you count 1, 2. You make them say, I have 2 crayons. And you do that. You put out 10 crayons, and now you say, take 2 away. You take 2 crayons away, and then you say, and have them say, how many crayons do you see? Then you count them. And they'll say, I see 8 crayons. What's another way that you can say, I see 8 crayons? At this moment, we're here, so why not teach them? There are 8 crayons. Why not teach them even further? There are 8 crayons left. So when I took all the things I learned from teaching this little girl, figuring out how to teach her so many things at once, all the time, I thought, how can I move this into a classroom? Because I don't have as much time in the classroom as I do at home. So I use a thing called the box method. Instead of spreading things out and teaching them this here and then thinking I'll wait until next month to teach them something else about that, you should teach them as much as you can all at once. Package it together. If you're teaching them something, teach them many things about it. If you're teaching them how to sit and stand, if they're watching you sit and stand, if you're sitting in a chair and then you're standing out of the chair and walking away. If you keep doing that, sitting in the chairs, standing up, sitting, standing up, if you let them see that and you don't teach them it, they're going to learn that by themselves. But no one taught them to not stand in the chair, right? So if you take the time to teach them, instead of just letting them observe, take the time to teach them sitting and standing. Make them say sitting and standing. Then make them say, I am sitting, I am standing. Then make them say, I am sitting in a chair, I am standing up. Then you teach them, you show them to not stand in the chair. Then you tell them to say, don't stand in the chair. Okay? That's packaging things together. That's teaching them the aspects of one thing. If you teach them something, look around that one thing and think of, what are other things that I can teach them right now? How else can I expand this? So, this is what I came up with. So I made a blue box, an actual physical blue box. And things I can use, I can teach them with this box all at once. I can do prepositions of place. So beside, in front of, behind, inside, under. Colors, blue, light blue, dark blue. Word or shapes, the box is a square, and you see the top here is a rectangle. I can use other shapes besides the box and put the shape in front of, beside, behind, inside. So you teach them words with that. You teach them sentences with that. Where is the triangle? It is in front of the box. Question sentences, different objects. Instead of just using shapes all the time, you can use different objects that you want to teach them. I eventually took the sides of the box, and wrote the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that we could count the sides of the box. Open, closed. So now I can take these things that I've taught them with the box, and if you're at home, you don't really need this, because if you're at home, you can take more time. You're there with your child most of the time. If you're with your kid, you should be taking all of that time that you're at home. Every single minute should be with your child. If you have a kid, I'm sorry, it might sound harsh, but your alone time is gone. What you want to do should be gone. Anytime that child is awake, you should be right there with them, teaching them the world around them, teaching them to say new words, teaching them new things, teaching them how to use and how not to use the things around them. Every moment, everything that they see, they should be learning about it. Okay? But if you're a teacher and you're in a classroom, this box method is very good. So open and close. Now I can teach them, go open the door, go close the door, go open your backpack, go close your backpack, stuff like that. I can even teach close, far, here, over there, with a box. And now this is something that you can do at home. With a box, you can teach balancing. So you can have them put the box on one hand. It's not a very heavy box. Or just hold it with 2 hands and walk. It maybe run a little fast. Okay? That's teaching them to balance it in their hands. Put something on top of the box and try to have them balance that object on top of the box. This might not sound important, but a lot of accidents are because children haven't learned to use their body at this age. We're thinking, well, they'll learn on their own by mistakes, which is true, yes. But why let that happen? Why not just teach them now? And then it's just teaching them about their body. Carrying things, you can teach them now. If you put something heavy inside and teach them it is heavy. Teach them, I am strong. I am not strong. It is too heavy. Take everything out of the box and say, the box is light. The box is not heavy. You see, I said the box is light, and then I made them say the box is not heavy. That's two different ways to say that the box is light. You can say the box is empty. There is nothing inside. You put something inside and you make them say there is something inside. Fill that box up and make them say the box is full. Do that with other objects. Take a cup. The cup is empty. Fill it with water. The cup is full. Fill it halfway and you can make them say it is half full. Okay. Turning the box. Sometimes, and it's funny, but of course the kids don't know. These children don't know. If you tell them turn around or to turn something, if you never taught them, how are they going to understand what that word means, right? So you can teach them to turn the box, turn it to side number 1, turn it to side number 2, flip the box upside down, turn the box over. Throwing things inside is hand-eye coordination. Have them throw something inside, step further back, keep trying more and more. Okay, memory. Put something inside the box and then put it away. Come back later, then ask them, do you remember what's inside? Make them say that. Do you remember? And then try to see if they remember what object you put inside. Okay, have them say, I remember. Or have them say, I don't remember. And then patience. Patience is one of the most important things you can teach your 2-year-olds. Okay? Put something inside the box and then count to 10. Or just sit down and wait. You just tell them to say, I am waiting. We are waiting. Let's wait. Make them say that and sit there for a while. And then say, okay, let's open the box. And you say, thank you for waiting. Have them say, thank you for being patience. Patience. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for waiting. Have them do it. Have them put something in the box. And have them tell you, let's wait. Then have them open the box. Okay? So drawing. Drawing is so important. If your child has a hard time drawing on their own, then all you do is take their hand and help them, show them. You can take a light color and draw a circle. Give them a darker color and have them trace that circle. Okay? Here in the middle here, you can see I drew a sandwich. And then I had and then down here I drew some other things like a toothbrush and some shirts and stuff. And then have them draw the same things they see. And a lot of times you can show them these things are just shapes. This sandwich is just a triangle with lines. Here are more things. If you write letters down, letters are just shapes. They're nothing special. It's not hard. They're just shapes. Write the word down. Make them write the word they see is just a shape. That's all it is. Then make them say that word. Show them the individual letters. Make the sounds for those letters. Put those letters together and say, let's make a word. Now, for me, even though I've been saying don't treat them like babies and stuff like that, to me, recognizing words and being able to actually read is something that you can wait a little bit. It doesn't mean they can't do it, and if you want to take on the task, that's amazing. It's possible. But it's not something that you really need at this time. What they really need is just to be able to say the letters, the phonics, so that they can learn more and more how to say words, so that they can interact and talk with you more and more. So these are things that you might come across if you're teaching, even at home or in a classroom. Breaking habits. I had a student who, at home, I guess his parents would just let him act like a cat. So coming into class, he would start just out of nowhere, start crawling around and meowing like a cat. So what I did was I gave examples of animals, and then I told all the students to say a cat is an animal. It is not a human. I would point at each student and say, you are a human. Make them say, I am a human. Now they understand this difference. I give them so many examples of animals and humans. They understand the difference. Now I take the child that's acting like a cat and make them say, I am not a cat. And then let's say they still want to act that way. Well, if you have rewards that you give to your students, you tell them, sorry, but cats cannot go out and play. Cats cannot have this. If you want this, be a human. Okay? And then make them say, I am a human. Really, that will break these habits. Do that with everything. Okay? And that's pretty much it. So let's pedal back to what I said at the beginning. Having your 2 to 3 year old become your best friend. And how exactly do we do this? By teaching them how to conversate, teaching them everything around them, giving them so many examples of these things so that they actually understand what they do instead of just repeating these words. Any kid can do that, but do they understand it? So you give them examples. If they can do it physically, have them do it. If they can only see it, just show them. Okay? Show them different examples of the same thing that they saw. Okay? And I keep saying okay. Okay. And you just, if you do that, if you're constantly showing them more things, teaching them more things quickly every single day, every moment that you're with them, teaching them more words, teaching them how to say more sentences, more questions, how to answer these questions, then they're going to start talking to you. Things that they feel inside, they're going to start being able to express it and show you how they feel about the world around them. They're not going to lose their innocence learning more about the world. They're not going to lose that feeling that you lose when you're an adult, when you realize, oh wow, it's not so easy. Because they're still going to have that freedom. They don't have to worry about paying bills or a job. But they now understand the world around them, and they can appreciate and enjoy it more instead of just looking at it blindly. With this little girl, we had so much fun because after everything I taught with her, we were, like I said, rocking out. We were watching Elvis, and she understood that the videos we were watching, that Elvis is dead, he's gone, because we saw some bugs. We saw a beetle, and one beetle was alive crawling, and one beetle was dead. So I took that opportunity, and it might sound morbid, but it's not. I took the opportunity to say, look, it's not moving, it's dead, it's gone. This one is moving, it's alive. And I took that and furthered it because she would take their cat and squeeze that cat half to death. And I don't understand how these cats have the patience to not claw her. But I took this opportunity to explain, look, if you do that, your cat might die. Just like that beetle. He will not move anymore. He will not be here. That will be sad. So now she understood that. And it didn't break reality for her. It didn't make her feel like life sucks. She just took care of things more. She understood things more. And so back to rocking out. She had gotten a little tiny toy guitar. And when I first saw her use it, she used it. Sorry, guys, see what time it is. She used it incorrectly. She was holding it wrong, upside down. And I thought, really? If you're going to use this, if you're going to have a toy or have something, you should be taught how to use it. So I taught her how to put her hand on the neck of the guitar. I gave her a pick, and I taught her how to strum the strings. She wasn't fretting the board, the fretboard. She wasn't doing chords or anything like that. She was just holding the neck of the guitar with her hand. But with her other hand, she was strumming with the pick. I taught her how to pinch, and that comes with teaching um, motor skills. I taught her how to pinch the pick and to move her hand up and down slowly, her wrist, just her wrist, and to strum the guitar. So when we listened to Elvis and she saw Elvis with his guitar, and I had a little guitar as well, we would jam out. We would be running around the living room just rocking out. And we would listen to things like Ozzy Osbourne and like the old school Ozzy Osbourne and everything. She knew who Randy Rhoads was because I told her that's Randy Rhoads. That's Ozzy Osbourne. She knew Jack Black's band Tenacious D. She loved the tribute song. And the thing is I was treating her like an adult because I knew this empty brain has the ability to absorb anything at this moment. We can do it, and I did. And I treated her like my best friend. I treated her as if she was an adult and not a kid that can't do anything. She became a part of my life. We did things together, things I enjoyed doing. She was enjoying it with me as well. No more CoComelon, no more nursery rhymes, no more baby books. We were doing things that are up a level because it was possible. Okay, so with everything that I've taught you, the most important thing to take from it is just teach them everything that's around them. Teach them how to say the words, teach them how to say the sentences, and then just run with it. Go everywhere with it. Teach them everything in the house. Teach them how to do as much as they possibly can. And you're going to find by the time they're 3, by the time they're 4, your child is going to be levels above. They're going to be enjoying life so much more. So hopefully I covered everything I wanted. I'm always thinking about this, always thinking of new ways to bring knowledge to these children. I'm constantly just thinking about it and thinking of new ways to explain it, because sometimes it's really hard to explain it and get the mindset of an empty brain of a child that knows nothing. And if you wait, if you let them absorb without teaching them anything, they'll catch on to patterns, but they might use them wrong. They might pick up on words you're saying, but they might not understand that these 2 words are separate. And so they'll put 2 words together and slur them. Now you think my kid has a speech problem, but really it's not. It's just because the time you thought they weren't absorbing anything, they were. And they weren't being taught exactly what they were absorbing. So now they have problems and habits that you have to overcome. And now your child is in speech class when you could have taken the time right at 2 years old to teach them these words, how to say them, how to use them. Okay, so hopefully that helps people. I've been really wanting to get this out and explain this, and even though this is an ASMR channel, maybe other people will still listen to it. So if you have any questions, please ask me, because people asking me questions will help me realize, oh, I didn't think to talk about that, or maybe actually it'll help me, because they say sometimes teaching will teach you, because you start to realize things that you didn't think of before. So again, thank you very much.